turn red just like that. So keep it running just for a few minutes as I kind of go through this. And that way we have some footage to analyze and make sure it's not one of the posts.
Okay.
Because the post is front of some foliage over there. All right, so this is the big red barn. This is where we keep some of the horses for your carriage rides. So they can hear us, which is exactly why we're using earbuds with our spirit box. They don't like the white noise. So the history here is really simple. It's just a quick one-liner, but it explains all your devices. This is the same red barn that held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Keywords here being delivery, milk, eggs, anything relative to a stable. Let's talk about your communication devices. We're using 2 tonight, as I always do, at least a minimum of 2. So what's the first question everybody wants to ask a Ouija board when they get in front of one? If you've never used one, think of your TV shows.
Is somebody here with
By itself. Maria, here's the number 40. If you put them together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You guys see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
You got a pedicab. I assume I'm gonna over your camera. The more still you are, the easier it is to actually find an anomaly. And you guys are probably going to let him stay busy with that all night long, it looks like. So with yours, you're already getting the gist of the 2. So in your mind, it's going to be 25. Got it? Okay. I can work on your terms. I'm good. So when you see like a 150, that's where I really need to know where things are going on. Got it. All right. Now, it's okay. I can work on their terms too. Yeah. So kind of how that goes. The reason I bring that up is because her husband was literally double her age when they married. So, but she was not those ages of like 12 to 14. She would have actually been considered an old maid for the time. So I'm just going to put that out there. Just kind of a heads up. So back to Eliza. She marries her husband because her father is over in England. He thinks he's dying. Eliza doesn't believe he's dying. She stays put right here, gets married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card so you can stay here. We're not a country yet. So she did marry him out of true love. Like, this is a true love story. This is not a horrific, scary, whatever. So again, don't poke the bear on this one. There was no love affair or anything like that going on. So just kind of keep that in mind when we're asking our questions and when we explore the space. But anyway, she was right. Her father did not die right away. So he starts sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a day or more times than once. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. That's a plant that makes blue dye that makes your blue jeans blue. That's what we use it for now. But when Eliza got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here, as you guys already know that. The time that we're here, just let it run. So if somebody's walking by, just grab the top handle like you did before. That way we don't lose any footage in case something does pop up. But with those questions, you can go to the audio of the camera, it can go to my audio, or either one of your 2 devices. So if you're asking questions, it might go to mom's device. We never know where it's going to go. That's why I always have a minimum of 2. We're going to start off with yours. You're going to go after Eliza's death. She's pretty open about talking about it. So you can ask her how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, and which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Do you know what a pallbearer is? Those are the people that carry the coffin to the grave. So it's an honor to be one of those things. So like when my grandmother passed away, she wanted me to be the first pallbearer to be able to take me. And I was honored that she chose me to do that. So that's the kind of mentality it is. So there was a president that did that for me. That's pretty important stuff. So that's what we get for that kind of device. Yours, you can go after the marriage questions because that thing will give you numbers as well. But I'm also going to give you the, where's the mansion? What happened to it kind of question. It's not here, obviously, unless you can see something I can't. The other piece of that is if you get the what, we normally get the when, which is a dip. I'll take a 4.1. So that's going to be your new baseline. Don't give me anything below that 4.1. Okay? So when you get the, like I said, whatever the tragedy is, I'm obviously giving you a clue that it's a tragedy. We get 2 or 3 numbers out of the date. Like kind of very accurate date. Again, there's going to be some spooky terms in there. Again, that's kind of the way they're designed. But there is a lot of other vague other things that could supplement or complement what Maria's hearing the whole time. So that's the beauty of that device. You might get the word like 4.3. Like it have what?
10.6.
So that's your new baseline. Don't give me anything below that 10.6. Do you see how we're working with this now? Okay. So, do I need to explain what EMF is a little bit before we get started so you know what the hell you're actually looking at? Let's do that. So, your TV set gives off electricity. If you were to put your device behind the TV outlet, it's going to read between 40 to 60 milliamps. You just had a what is it, 10.6? So about a quarter of what a TV puts out. Your microwave that's heating up your breakfast, Pop-Tarts, whatever you're putting in there, it's going to read about 150, so to 170. The highest I've ever seen that device go in my 11 years of doing this has been here. So, and I don't just do tours, I do other investigations too. 214 milligauss came out of this space microwave. So that's like putting your head inside the running microwave with the Pop-Tart. So kind of keep that in mind. I actually have epilepsy, and it's too much electricity in the air for the guy with the neurological disorder. We got the hell out of here very quickly. So that's exactly why I called her my safety director, because I need to know what numbers are coming out of there. If you start seeing like over 100 several times, we're probably going to move along pretty quickly. So what's going to happen is we're going to spread out a little bit. I'm going to do one round robin to see what's going on, or we can all work together, however you guys are comfortable. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You don't have to ask questions out loud. You can just focus on her death. She might kind of get the gist of what's going on inside your brain. You never know. That's the beauty of this, is it's fun no matter how you do it. You can just focus. If you feel weird about talking to somebody that you can't see, she's in here. I can guarantee you we're already getting readings from it. You're just missing things in real time. What else do you have going on your word list? Hello. Hit the white box. Let me see what else you got. It's the one on the right. There you go.
This one?
Mm-hmm. Lake Republic. Brace. Interesting. So the third sticks out to me just because of Big John. The word Republic. The bleeding thing is, I mean, it's vague right now until something else pops up to kind of identify and define it a little bit. So your two buttons are always going to be on the right. So the top right and then the one on the right. And then we just have the word soul, like the sole of your shoe just showed up.
Okay.
So again, they probably misspelled it. They misspell a lot of things in that thing. Exactly. All right, so let's have some fun with this. Let's go see what we got going on. Have you had any anomalies show up in there at all?
Yeah.
Where were you getting something?
Right here. Constantly.
17.8, I just saw.
How did she die?
I'm not telling you all those yet.
And right there. I think that might be the background.
Yep. So this one, I'm worried that it's going to be the corner of the dumpster.
Okay.
So what I do with those, just so you know, is I take a screenshot and brighten it and kind of see if there's a shape there that I can recognize from all the spaces that I go to.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
That's why this one probably takes me the longest to go through. So if I identify something and I'm like, I know what that is. Like the other point of thing, go ahead and put that camera directly at my face for a second. Do I have 3 points on my face?
Yeah.
So 2 eyes and a nose, right?
Yeah.
So that's the contours of my face because one's in front of the other. So when I'm identifying a stick man that I can't see where that person actually is, I'm looking for 3 points on the head.
Gotcha.
That's one thing I learned for certain on there. Like if it has a singular dot, it is nothing. It is usually something man-made or an object we can normally see.
Has one.
And the cool thing is that with my infrared camera, it can see the spray of dots that's being thrown out. So normally I have to, yeah, it's really cool stuff. When I have that working on the same team, right, everybody's got a camera out, I have to tell those people, do not, with this one and that one, point at each other because you will blind this camera.
Oh.
Because it can see
Oh yeah,
all of the...
no kidding, the IR lights.
Right. Or I'm sorry, it'll blind the infrared camera. And I use 24 IR LEDs on that guy. So it is super bright, and I did everything I could to eliminate any bulbuses in there. So any light flares are going to follow it, like a normal light bulb would. That's why I went to LEDs.
Okay.
So a lot of experimentation with that camera too. But that one takes forever to upload because the files are giant. Because it's basically a GoPro camera that's been altered.
Gotcha.
So that one takes me probably 4 hours to upload about an hour and a half worth of video. So I'm at the office a whole hell of a lot longer. That's why I don't always pull that one out right away.
I got you.
It's either this one or the FLIR, because the FLIR uploads at a pretty quick thing too. Ella's jumping in. Ray, have you heard anything yet?
Anything else good,
Kind of
baby?
the star of the show right now. Is that why you asked me how she died?
What?
Do you want to know how she died? Breast cancer.
I keep getting 3 points here. Looking right at that trash can.
Might be someone living in there.
Can you see me in there? Is my stick figure in there?
No.
No.
Emmett towards him.
No, it's the stick figure beside you.
The going to kind of point to kind of see like where it's at exactly.
You see where the light is refracting?
Yeah.
There.
Then it's probably the light refracting.
But he's saying there's 3 points, and it's above that.
Oh.
There's 3 points, like you were talking about, a face. Is that Oscar the Grouch? I mean, I don't know.
Somebody's shadow is also on there too. See how I don't have like a full stick figure? It's almost like it's just picking up random lines.
If you look at ignore the stick figure for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like a face in there. The shadows,
Got it.
eyes and nose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all right.
Take a peek, see what you got in there. And again, we won't know until we brighten it up. Are you Googling things?
No, my friend asked me how that's supposed to say. Oh, somebody asking for my name. Yeah. Still texting me.
How's our word list?
Oh, thank you.
There you go. More bleeding. Anybody ask about the president?
No.
There's a key word in there that actually would help somebody identify
That's
who
so
the president would be.
creepy. Why is the window this open?
It's an office.
Oh, look what's there.
Yeah, try not to hit those red X's.
sorry.
It'll take it off the list. That PC kind of stands out to me just because I don't think it means personal computer. Like I look at letters like that, kind of like it might be a set of initials.
Yeah.
So any other numbers? Well, I think you might need to explore the space a little bit. So I think we should
Yeah.
just kind of at least do one little quick lap before we kind of see what else we got going on. You had a 15 point something, didn't you? Does that happen before the 17? What do you got now? What do you have now?
I'm just asking questions.
Oh, as you're asking me a question. So the fact that she got breast cancer here, like right away,
Yeah.
we actually haven't had that answer in quite a while. But I will tell you that that's how I learned about how Eliza died, is through what she's doing right now. Somebody heard, they asked a question, how did you die? They heard breast cancer, and I actually dove in, and lo and behold, she died of breast cancer.
I'm trying to figure out what happened to her house. Inflation. I don't know anything about presidents.
She wasn't the president at the time. South Carolina has never had a president. Average age is 18. Johnson Calhoun was it 30?
It was
Calhoun was the vice president.
He was the one.
75.
No
Yo,
idea.
it just said PC.
Whoa.
Are you serious?
That's
No, the
196.
joke just said PC.
It's
She just had a 196.
and she just said PC on her.
What does PC mean?
I don't know yet.
I keep saying hard, like it's. I don't know.
But when that thing errors out like that, because I've seen it kind of like rotating, if you had a 78, and then when I saw the 196, and then it started to error out, like it didn't know how to go up to that next level. So first off, does anybody have a headache or anything here? Everybody feel okay? No dizziness? Okay. I always have to check when we get readings that high, because now she's back down to pretty much nothing.
Yeah, that makes. You didn't. feel anything when you said PC.
I don't know who this is.
I just think it's weird. She has seizures and she's on medication, so
So am I.
that stressed me. Like
She's
when that went that high.
Yeah, so let's, just for safety's sake, let's go back to the back and we'll kind of reveal all the answers here. Just because of the high EMF, like those are ridiculously high. we're outdoors. We should not have anything like that unless, of course, it's something paranormal. So how many kids are there total?
7. Yeah, she did one of our kids. That girl.
Everything okay?
She's a grown-ass woman. I don't
Okay.
know. I'm not looking right now.
How do you feel about my kid?
It looks like a TikTok. It's a TikTok for me and you. I know it.
I want to say Presbyterian College. I don't know why when I hear PC, I want to say Presbyterian College.
I just think the fact that she heard it and it's on the list, I don't know what it means. Normally when something stands out twice like that, even if she were to get, like she has bled and bleeding, that stands out in my mind right now.
And you said this was the slave quarters?
Back here.
Yeah, I was wondering if that, because that's where blood and bleeding started.
Interesting.
And then,
Back concept.
and then was there a schoolhouse near here?
No.
Okay.
You said it's Pinckney, right?
Right.
Okay. Pinckney's one of the signers.
Mm-hmm. Actually, two of the sides.
He's buried here. He's buried in Charles.
Yeah. Both of them. One was buried at St. Philip's. The other one is buried at St. Michael's.
I've seen Pinckney's.
We started on Pinckney Street.
Well, no, I've seen Pinckney's grave.
Yeah.
So, and that was years and years.
So let's kind of cover all these answers and kind of show you how this is going. So the breast cancer thing, I'm almost wondering, because breast cancer is obese, if it's a misinterpretation.
Might be, yeah.
See where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a stretch.
It's not that big of a stretch, though.
I like things defined.
Yeah, I mean, too.
We're dealing with an imprecise science.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, that's what makes this legitimate. So when she hears breast cancer and then says, hey, how did she die? And now I know why she asked me. So whenever I break out the tablet, it's just obviously we're going over answers. It kind of gives you guys the visuals of who we're trying to hunt down. This is Eliza Lucas Pinckney. So you can kind of give your hands a break with the camera. I know it's fascinating. It's
all right.
Eliza Lucas. So I use her maiden name because this is the second wife named Eliza and Charles back to back. The first wife also had a maiden name that started with the letter L. Maiden names are the names she had before she got married. So Eliza Lamb. Sorry, whenever I have like kids, I always feel like I need to do the extra history lesson. So sorry if I do that, and if I'm insulting anybody, just tell me. I'm just that guy. I love to teach. But Eliza Lucas, Eliza Lamb. At times on your word list, if I have a whole team, that's usually one of the set of questions I give that particular device because we have gotten Lucas and or Lamb in the same evening. So this wife was 22 when she married Charles, who was 45. So kind of a creepy age gap back then, creepy age gap now, only because I'm close to Chuck's age. My oldest daughter is Eliza's age, so it kind of shows you why it's creepy. As far as what happened to the mansion, one of the few pictures we do have of the mansion, this is fire damage from the Great Fire of 1861. So this is exactly where you're standing right now. So this picture was taken from behind, so it was basically taken from that back corner up this way. But at the same time, every tour in town is going to tell you about a Great Fire. This is one of the biggest ones we've ever had. Let me show you. So obviously fire was the thing that you were looking for, but this particular fire of December 11th of 1861 literally went from one side of the peninsula all the way to the other. This was a giant fire. So, go ahead.
Was this mansion made out of wood?
Great question. So I get that all the time. Like, why didn't the mansion burn all the way down? We're talking about an indigo farmer and politicians. They had money. So everything else behind me was made of wood. This house was not. So that's why it didn't burn all the way to the ground.
That's why it said wood.
Not necessarily. There's another clue that you probably missed. I'm going to explain that once we get to that point. So I do like where your head's going.
Alright.
But I think we've gotten the word wood here all the time because one of the clues that, or the question we would ask, the direct answer is a lot of syllables. So it'll kind of explain things here in just a moment. But this particular fire, just like we're standing on the green dot, if that gives you an idea.
I mean, you tell me, we'll talk about it later. I said, it came up as wood. I said, was there a fire? And then the next thing is dismiss. Like, you just dismiss what I said and talk about it later. So that's probably a coincidence, but I just thought that was...
I don't believe in coincidences.
Yeah,
So,
neither do we. But
so again,
we...
that's what I call a real-time moment. So that thing loves to predict. You also have to remember that I visit these locations 5 to 7 nights a week, and I do recite specific lines, so you guys look for certain things, especially with spirit box work. So I'm not reciting like a script. It is just like I got to make sure certain words will come out. So that way there's kind of a hint there, but not. That'll kind of make a whole lot more sense as we kind of move along. The children. I didn't throw those questions out to you guys simply because I still feel like we're a little too close to a tragic date of one of those children, but I'm going to kind of give you the quick skinny on them just in case something pops up, and it'll explain why the word blood and bleeding stood out to me. The first son you already know about, Charles. He signed the Constitution, right? So we're going to move on to the next son. Thomas. He fought in a Revolutionary War battle, Battle of Camden. So I was going to say he signed
all the time, yeah.
Thomas, shot in his left leg, blood, bleeding, was captured by the British. When they released him, he was left on a cane and a limp the rest of his days. So any picture you're going to find of Thomas after that battle, it's of his right side to hide his left leg with a cane over his lap. So kind of an interesting point. So I was waiting for the name Thomas to show up, the word left. Camden has come through on a spirit box before. That's actually how I learned about this. So that kind of, again, I don't recite shit that the city wants me to tell me. This is what has come from previous investigations. The next child is the reason why I don't always give you guys the set of questions. It's baby George. You can already see why, where this is actually going. Baby George, in June of 1747, was born and died. Now, the weird thing about that is that it only says June of 1747. We don't know the dates of either one, the birth or the death. So he could have been days old, could have been weeks old. My guess is that during those times, you wouldn't name a baby until they were christened. So that takes a few weeks. So I'm going to guess he's a minimum of 2 weeks old. The other weird thing about George is he does not have a headstone or a grave. Here's my theory behind that. The church, which would have been St. Philip's, may have allowed the family to mummify him and keep him right in the home instead of a tomb, waiting for mom to pass away so that way he can actually be buried with her. So kind of an interesting, creepy thought and endearing all at the same time. So again, kind of keep that in mind as we move through this with Eliza's death when we get to that point, because that's where it gets really weird. The last child, her name is Harriet. She married Daniel Horry. You guys should already know, being South Carolinians, Horry County is Myrtle Beach. That gives you an idea of where she lived. So that would have been 2.5 hours north of here. Would have been a 2.5-hour car ride for Eliza. There's no cars. So lots of letter writing instead. So when we do hear from Harriet, which isn't very often, we'll get terms of quill, ink, paper, publish, anything relative to letter writing. So again, I don't expect her when she does show up, but it's a nice little surprise. Eliza's death. She was 70 years old when she passed away, 1793. That's a long time for it's a long time for a lady to be that age during that time period. So I'll just point that out. You guys already kind of figured that one out.
Yeah.
She was going to Philadelphia getting treatments for that breast cancer. They didn't know what it was in 1793 because we didn't know what breast cancer was in 1793. So we're going based off of medical records now. So 9 out of 10 credible sites will tell you that it was indeed breast cancer. So take that for what it's worth. She died in Philly. She's buried in Philly. That raises two questions, something we've already kind of discussed. If she's up there, what the hell are we doing here? I don't take you to cemeteries. It's minimal activity. Nobody hangs out staring at their headstone when they're gone. They go to where the emotion is, their mansion, 400 miles away, which is exactly why we're in the middle of a dead parking lot, right? No pun intended.
Heaven is different for everybody.
Exactly.
So that's your heaven. If your mother's your heaven, then you'll be with your mother until, and then you're stuck because mom's home again.
And that's, everybody's got kind of a different theory on things, and I love listening to the heaven and hell piece because I don't bring religion into any of this. I'm personally one of those people that believe that spirits can travel. So if they want to go to other realms, they can do that. But if they want to come back here and this is where they dwell, there's going to be one space tonight. It's a 50-50 shot if she's going to be there.
Energy's energy. It's just the way it is.
That is one thing we can all agree upon.
This is
What's it say?
Wisdom.
Here it comes. Men with beards. Let's do this.
So I'll tell all of this. And my father, that best friend, his name was Tim. And he was killed. He was murdered over a car game.
Okay.
Left in the street, made it look like he was running by a car. For him, we figured out my father was hurt. Because he would have handprints on all over the sheets, cutting on and off over the refrigerators. When my dad's house moved, he stayed outside. We smelled his cigarettes, we smelled his beer, you can smell it when he tries to come in the house. He's very attracted to the females.
I've seen him on the light post.
Yeah. So
Come running back in the bedroom. I was like, did he smoke? He's like, what are you talking about? Did he smoke? He was like, who? Ted. Yes.
we have a lot of Wiccans in our family, so we managed to basically, I know where he's buried at, and everybody says, oh, graveyard dirt. It's just, really, to me, it's nothing. But we made a deal, and so far, he sticks to the deal. If you're smoking, you have to go over there and flick ashes over his, we
is where the
Service work, yes.
So if you go have a beer at least once a month, you have to go share a beer with everyone else. That's what.
I like it. I like it a lot. Now I do smoke a tobacco pipe, and I smoke a pipe normally before every tour. You know, and I smoke very distinctive flavors. Like they are, it's not like your normal just tobacco, vanilla, whatever. Like I smoke a clove and cinnamon, so it's very distinctive. And then I also smoke what they call Christmas spice. So it's got like a little bit of a pepperminty thing.
It was so rarely bathed out, so it wasn't
Yeah,
very,
so-
it wasn't a very nice smell.
But my wife claims that I'm only smoking this pipe, so that way when I'm gone, y'all know when the hell I'm lingering around because my damn pipe smell will be there.
yeah.
You know, it's just one of those pieces where with every location we go to tonight, it's a little bit different. And, you know, I kind of talked about the respect for this place, and I already told Eliza all of your names because I stop here every night before I meet with y'all. Simply because I was actually going to retire this space. I change this up every year. So I was going to retire this space for the year, but I keep getting drawn back. It's one of the most active spaces I've ever been to because it's constant. But one of the deals I made with Eliza is because I was getting disrespectful ghost hunters on your end, where they were like, come on, Eliza, you know, kind of antagonizing, and then they go take a leak in the corner. So it's kind of like, nope, we're out of here, we're done. So I gave place a few weeks, investigated other spaces with my groups, you know, because I have other places I can go. And then came back and just kind of sat over there on that stump and just had a chat with her. But one of the deal is I need to tell her how many people I'm bringing and what their names are. That's why I knew all of your names before you even showed up.
That's fair.
So again, it's just a respect for her. The fact that she gave us a 196 tonight and a very distinctive breast cancer that came out of that, I know for sure that you're missing things in real time. That I'm going to be like, bam, 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 bam. That's a lot of stuff. But that 196 is astronomical. Like that's huge on the point scale system. But by the way, so let me wrap up Eliza, and then we'll talk about the next space. Have you gotten any other numbers?
It's mine's like 4
Anything above 25? Okay. So, Eliza, breast cancer, dead. She's up in Philly, right? We got to that point. Who wants to guess who the president was? That was the pallbearer.
Well, it wasn't the president yet, because there was no space there. So, maybe George, you'd have to be George. Or either that, or it would be, we got Adams. If you go for the presidents,
So you're doing this by deductive reasoning, which is
Yeah.
good. So the reason why it is George Washington. So the reason why I do all of this, and notice I gave you all of the answers.
he was in Philadelphia.
Not only that, but when we got here, here's the reason why I do all of this. I told y'all I'm not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. But I do that because I just subliminally put George Washington in the back of all of your brains, waiting to see who's going to give me the answer without doing deductive reasoning like you were just doing. So it's a good thing. The rest of you guys all pass with a fail. That's a good thing. So if somebody with the spirit box told me George Washington over there, I would take the spirit box and give it to somebody else because they're just going to repeat the same shit I've already said. So that kind of makes sense. I just like to know who I'm working with. You guys all passed. We're good to go. Now we could have gotten bleed over from Big John's over here, which is where I was kind of like thinking that PC might be something of his teammates and something else might be there. Oh, which by the way, that's where the wood would come from. There was rumor that Washington had wooden dentures.
Oh,
So the word
okay.
wood, George Washington, is actually how I learned about this because that's how it came through on a spirit box twice in 1 week. I'm like, there's got to be a tie to George Washington and the paintings. Lo and behold, do some research, bada bing, bada boom, he's the pallbearer. I'm like, holy shit, that's a great question. But with that, we started asking more and more. And we were getting the word wood a lot because George Washington is 4 syllables. That's a lot. So the word wood is much easier. So we get it here all the time. 44.8, got it. Don't worry, I heard you.
I was counting them in syllables.
You didn't get a 44.8?
I do.
Oh. I will take that for sure. Just so you guys know why I write down all of those numbers, I did create a scoring system for this that other teams like around the country are starting to use because they're using my workbook. And all of the points of what she's getting based on how high it goes is a part of that scoring system. So it's like for every 25 milligauss that comes through, we get 1 point. So 26 to 50, 2 points. So forth. You can obviously imagine where that 196 is going to take your score already. So we're already underway. So we could have gotten things, Big John's over here, pinky stuff over there. That's what I call bleed over. Even though these two ghosts are from 2 different centuries, they can cross over all the time. They're in proximity. Where we're going is exactly what I'm hoping for. We're going to go in there and kind of stir things up because it's an alley. We're not going to be able to really explore it because A, we're only allowed to go so far. We're going to talk about that. But there may be other tours in there. You're going to be very discreet with your recording. You're going to actually stop your recording from here to there because you're just going to recreate the Blair Witch Project.
Jackson. Jackson loved it.
Well, there is a rumor that Jackson actually did do a duel down here.
I wouldn't doubt it.
It's a rumor. I can't find any validation for it, but I do get a lot of locals that tell me that. So your camera will pick up the back of the mausoleum, just so you know. So it'll pick up like the lines. You don't have a 25-foot ghost, hovering over us.
Ooh.
So that's why when I'm watching this, I will always watch down the center of the alley. So while we're here, if other tours are going to come through here, which they may, they're going to come out of the ivy wall to your left, Chris, because there's a little stairwell right there, just up and to the left by that trash can, or they'll come in the same way that you just did, because we're only allowed to go down halfway through this. I'll discuss that because I've actually been kicked out of here before. That's the fun part of the story. We're going to get to that. I know, right? So, welcome to Dueler's Alley. So we didn't get anything specific that came into the spirit box because she wasn't really paying attention to it, which is perfectly fine.
Whenever we got in here, it said beautiful thing and hello.
And you were talking about how gorgeous it is down here.
We're talking about me.
So this location is what I'm retiring this year, just so you know. Every ghost tour comes down here, and again, it's kind of a staple for all ghost tours, so I'm going to take it out because I'm adding a murder mystery. We're going to try to make contact with a ghost there where their murder's never been solved. So it's over 100, well, almost 100 years old. It's not staying. Yeah, I know, right?
Yes.
So it is one of those things where this is the one I'm going to take out just because everybody comes here. But anyway, here's how the story goes if you guys didn't hear it last night. Did you guys only go through cemeteries last night?
Yeah, we went to a cemetery walk.
Just one cemetery?
It was the
Yeah, it was a circular church.
Yeah, we went to
Oh,
Bulldog
that's an
tours.
interesting.
Yeah, it was a
I didn't know that it was
Bulldog
just the circular church.
yeah.
Oh,
It was a cemetery.
I mean, it was nice.
There was a mass grave.
haunted
There was a mass
graveyard
grave
too.
over there. It's from,
yeah, I've been through it.
Yeah, it was a very nice. I mean, the lady was a very good storyteller.
She was a good
She didn't.
spit.
Yeah, she was really good. It was nice.
Okay.
Just
I'm
something
just
to
surprised
warm
that it
them
was
up.
just one cemetery. Because normally Bulldog has access to 3 different cemeteries. So
I don't know.
just
Oh no, it was 2. But we only stood in front of one.
the other one, the Unitarian or
No,
St. Philip's.
St. Philip's. We stood in front of St. Philip's.
All right, which is actually on the other side of this wall. That's exactly where you're at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's St.
There
Philip's
it is.
Cemetery.
You can tell.
Yep. Exactly where you are. So here's how this story goes, and then we're going to stir things up. I'll tell you how I got kicked out of here, and then tell you why we go to the next place that we're going to, because that's kind of what this place is. Keep in mind, with what Maria's hearing on her spirit box, we may get bleed over into the next location, because we're going to be going across the street by the Powder Magazine on the back side of the circular church. So it'll all make sense once we get up in that area. So this is Dueler's Alley. It used to be called this is now Philadelphia Alley. It used to be called Dueler's Alley. So we named it after a city after dueling was truly illegal and became a stupid thing to do. So we named it after a city that helped us out of one of our many fires, Philadelphia. So that's why it's called Philadelphia Alley now. So you okay? I just woke up the bats.
All I see now are stick figures. I'm gonna close my eyes.
All stick figures everywhere. So a doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it's not coincidence. We get it all the time.
What is
It's
brown eyed girl?
an old like
It's a song.
1950s song.
Well, if you hear it,
You'll know it.
I'll
Trust
sing
me.
it to you.
How did you go?
She's my brown-eyed girl.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you
okay.
remember when we used to
I love
sing
this
the
song.
Yep. Yeah. Again, we get it here all the time because it's part of his name. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancee Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. So she has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow that she just got. And the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So we're going to let this young lady pass through. Oh, we were kind of already split. So you're good. How are you? Dr. Ladd's heard that he's not after Amanda's money. Comes to Charleston. So on his way into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start. So somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. He's seen what was about to happen, and he's about to stop it. But I'm going to stop the story for a second to tell you about Ralph. I stop on Ralph because you're ghost hunting. Things like names mean something. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. We were getting the letters RI all the time on different types of spirit boxes, so I bought a new device. It's basically a digital Ouija board. So it basically stops the cursor on letters based on EMF detection, and I wanted to see if we were getting the exact letters. So I've had that device for about 6 or 7 months, and we've gotten it about the same number of times. So about once a month, when I'm talking about Ralph, the letters R-I will be stopped. Keep in mind, those letters are not next to each other in the alphabet, nor are they next to each other when it does the circulation. Back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. I know him. He's got a gunman inside. Come with me. We're going to go to 59 Church Street, friend's house of mine. They're going to rent you a room, and you'll be safe. The doctor took him up on the offer, and they're now friends. Now, the longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. That's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's cash flow. She hears this, she's coming down, and doctor gets wind that she's moving down so they can be married, and he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you about whistling ghosts. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. It's another reason why I'm taking this story out of my route. We have gotten proof, but I'm going to get to that. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So that's the hierarchy of Charleston. Yeah, yada yada, right?
Yeah.
Now, on the way home from seeing Richard III, they're arguing over the new actress that was in town. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets really ugly. They go their separate ways. But I already told you Ralph has friends in town. He goes to the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. All right, so every other tour that talks about this says, that's our first social media. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But anyway, so the doctor saw the ad because it was a you're a disgrace to society kind of stuff. And he said, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. We're going to settle this once and for all. Somebody's going to die. Keep in mind, this argument started over an actress. So I kind of like, it's kind of a silly thing. So they came down, they took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. If you've seen Hamilton, you already knew that. Now, with that said, sorry, kids all see Hamilton. Have you guys seen Hamilton? Yeah, I figured. So I make that reference so they know what the hell I'm talking about. But anyway, Dr. Ladd, or Ralph has his one bullet. Where do you think he puts it?
He shoots it up.
Where? We haven't heard it or seen it, but it was in his kneecap. So, doctor doesn't die, falls to the ground. Ralph proved his point. He's still pissed, not willing to forgive. Doctor's friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, after refusing medical treatment on November 2nd of 1786. I'll point out two things. Seems like you're a big history buff. It's 1786. Gunshot wounds were a lot different back then. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning. He's also a doctor, which means he probably just tried to bleed it out himself. So, again, he failed. Unfortunately, because he died. But every ghost tour that comes down here will tell you to listen for his whistles. The cool thing for us, you're using equipment. If we're going to get it, it's going to be on the camera or my voice recording. The other thing is that if you're going to try this on your own and just walk all the way through here with your voice recorders from your phone, just keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen, I do it every morning. My office is this way, my garage is over here. We passed it. So I have to pass the alley every morning when I'm done with your guys' data. I always throw a whistle down here, especially since I've been thrown out. And that's usually about 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm walking by. So here's how I got thrown out of here. Here's the fun part. This will also show you, and you'll appreciate this, how I piece all this stuff together. This alley didn't always go all the way through this way. So there was a wall blocking us from the way we came in. The reason why is because this was called Cow Alley. This is where they kept the livestock, called the city of Charleston. So imagine cows and chickens down here. Now, with that said, those bricks down on the other end are older than the ones we're standing on. These are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there, with fingerprint swipes and others. I used to take my groups all the way down here when I first started doing tours and broke into tourism, and I would take my groups down there to basically show the brick because of history, not because it was anything paranormal. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid's not there. That's the last place you're going to find him. However, November 26th, 2020, my entire group is huddled around that brick waiting for something to happen with the tools I gave them. I'm sold out. There's 10 people huddled. I'm trying to shoo them along because I'm also trying to be respectful to the mansion at the end of the alley. We're outside this man's kitchen window. So I'm like, all right, guys, we gotta go. He comes out screaming. I'm not supposed to be there. I didn't know I was out of bounds. I was still new at this. My daughter thought it was great because her dad's getting yelled at. So she was on the tour that night. She was probably 12 or 13 at the time. But anyway, so we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because before this, I actually worked for the biggest retailer in the world, Upper Management. I don't do Thanksgiving because I was a guy who used to have to take the ladies off the towels on Black Friday. You guys are getting my point. I won't do Thanksgiving ever again. The next day is November 28th. The dates are relevant. I'm going to get to it. So, because she's starting to look bored and falling asleep on me. Either that or she's super droned in. But anyway, so I called my partner that I had at the time. I told him what happened. He laughed at me too, just like my daughter did. He's like, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway down that alley. You got to reroute your group. So I told my team that night, I don't believe in the next backstory. I've never had anything happen up there, and I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. We're talking pirates next, in case you didn't figure that out. So before we left, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we're going to be looking for. The same way, she heard breast cancer earlier. I didn't tell her anything about that. So we're going to be investigating the famous female pirate Anne Bonny next. That's who we're going after. Now, before we get over around the corner, and I told them a little bit I did know about piracy. It wasn't much. So somebody else heard the number 300 on a different spirit box. I don't know what it means. I write it down. I do the research. 99? I know where that's coming from. You guys should have heard that story last night if you went to St. Philip's. But anyway, back to the 300. So I'm doing the research. We are there November 28th of 2020, and Bonnie's trial for piracy, November 28th, 1720. The exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. Now, you guys say, woohoo, that's good stuff. I was pissed off. Let me tell you why. I have a master's degree in creative writing. Even when I'm writing fiction, I like facts and data. Pirate stories come from pirate lore, which were written 100 years after the fact of when it actually occurred. So I've read more books on piracy trying to debunk everything that we're going to be discussing. That's part of the job, guys. I have to make sure like what we're doing is legit. Everything we're going to discuss at the next location, minimum of 2 resources of every sentence that will come out of my mouth. Because I have done so much damn research. I'm still playing video games about pirates. I'm still watching documentaries on pirates. We are 3, almost 4 years later going on me researching freaking pirates, not just in Charleston, but in general. So, the gate before we leave. Have we had any numbers? I know you haven't been super focused on it. Did you hear anything else besides the 99?
I heard locked up like 4 times.
Locked up. The gate. Did anybody tell you why this gate is here? Because most tour guides don't know. I just told you a bunch of stuff. The alley didn't go all the way through this way, right? So if there was a duel down here, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of this wall. Otherwise, they have to walk all the way down to Queen Street and then double back with the dead body to go drop them at the cemetery. So this is what I call the death gate. The wrought iron you see on there was probably put there in the early 1900s, but obviously the archway is part of the original wall. So I'm hearing rumor that a lot of the foliage in this alley is to try to hide some of the bullet holes of when gunshots were shot up to the side, and that the Andrew Jackson bullet is allegedly in this wall somewhere. So I'm not going to go through searching through here. If you're a geocache person, there is a geocache in here. I know that one for sure. I think it's right here. It's actually one of these stones. But again, not one of those, I love treasures like that, but I'm not going to be looking for a damn bullet hole because there's probably dozens of them in here. Any other major...
I saw Josiah, Carol, and Sir.
Sir? I guess I are. I'm going to see, like that 99 is interesting. Again, you guys probably heard that story last night. It'll all start to make sense once we get around the corner.
Oh, and marriage. That's a little late.
A little bit. But we're still talking about how he should have been married. He never did get married to Amanda, Dr. Ladd. So we're going to get clues to Dr. Ladd over there as well. It's part of the reason why I still like hanging on to this one, because Anne Bonny isn't always there. I mean, we're going to be there for 15, maybe 20 minutes tops, and if she's there, great. If not, we might get things from Dr. Ladd. So that's going to be the one sad thing is when I take this out of here. Welcome to my world of being a little jumpy on a weekday.
I have severe PTSD.
Fair enough. All right, so we ready to learn about rated R pirates? Be sure. You can stop your video until we get around the corner, and that the picture was not altered. So he gets the picture back, and if you basically Google the top 100 apparitions ever caught, this is one in that top 100. It is of a woman wearing a shawl with a baby basket next to her, next to that grave. So during the time frame of her death, which is in, I want to say in June, we get more activity. So I don't always tell this story. However, the picture is cursed as well. So we're not going to hang out here for too long. I'm just going to point out where her grave is. Now, normally the photograph, they say if females handle it, even in a digital format like a cell phone or a tablet, you get the same symptoms we talked about at the beginning. So the headache, the nausea, the dizziness. So if a pregnant female is handling it, they're not going to have a good pregnancy. You can see why I don't always tell this story, because if a pregnant female tells the story because they had a great vacation with their new husband, and then 9 months later, I'm not going to be the guy they call because I cursed their family. Yeah. So I'm that guy. So her grave is actually, I did a lot of research to find and pinpoint it. So do you guys see the grave back there, the headstone with the cross, the big giant cross back there? Yeah. It is just on the other side of that. So it is right here on this path, but it is beyond that crossed headstone. So
Is that cross in that picture that you're speaking of?
no thanks.
I feel like I've seen that picture before.
I'm going to show it to you once we get across the street. But every ghost tour ends here because they have something to show. So,
Why is there someone hanging in that tree right there?
because it's a tree and it's got leaves that are all in front of one another.
Makes sense.
Anything with leaves, like we're going to be near an ivy wall here soon.
Okay.
And I'm going to be like, don't even point your camera that way because it's going to be covered in people. So we're going to go across the street. We're going to talk about pirates. I'll show you that picture real quick. But again, every ghost tour stops here. I'll show you the picture and kind of zoom in on it. But the only thing I'll ask is you don't touch the tablet when I do, pull it out. Just because, again, we've got a whole team of females here and Chris. So again, I don't want anything going on with the family. You guys got enough people in your family. We don't need to curse anybody. So let's go across the street. Other side of that cemetery, so that's probably the one you guys took a look at, which you toured last night with John Calhoun in there. Did they talk about Calhoun?
We didn't need to go in this one.
But you guys said you came up to it, right?
Yeah, we came through on the outside.
Yeah, Calhoun is in here. You can actually walk through the cemetery during the daytime. Whenever there's a president or vice president in there, they gotta kind of keep it open to the public. So here is your picture of Sue's apparition. This is the full picture that he took. Your apparition is right here, so you can see her shawl, and then the baby basket right next to her.
Yeah, I've seen that picture and I couldn't understand what I was looking at.
Yep. So you're looking at her back.
Yeah.
There have been other pictures taken there that were misty, but nothing as clear as this one. So, and it's always on the same day. So I can't remember the exact day. I want to say it's like June 12th, June 14th. This kind of rings a bell. But that 99, when she heard that, I was kind of like, okay, now we got to go through that. Normally the word baby will show up or something along those lines. Kind of take that for what it's worth. Nope, I got my own. So how's our word list coming now? Do we have anything else that might relate to that?
There was A in the sentence.
No. A stands for Amanda.
Oh,
and 10
yeah.
is 10 paces.
Ah. It's in my
Cat.
hand.
The cat?
Alright, let's kind of get into why we're here. By the way, I'm actually excited about that 2.8. I know it's not the 196 that we had over there, but we don't normally see much over
Yeah,
there.
there's
So I'm definitely going to take that 2.8.
Oh, don't.
Like, that's actually good for this location. In fact, it's getting a little bit of a spike.
and
Demon?
it wasn't even like,
Like, we got a picnic in there?
Demon?
Yeah, that's part of the bullshit that comes with it.
I got you.
I have 7 kids, so I always have water, and there's a first aid kit. I
I
have a
got one
hammer
of those
if I need to hit them. No, I didn't bring
So I
snacks.
keep like a multi-tool, pliers, all that kind of stuff. And then I do have a first aid kit that I refresh every year, just in case. By the way, how's everybody feeling? Because this is one of those spaces where females aren't always feeling super great. You guys feeling okay?
I felt a little nauseous for a second over there.
Okay. So I seen all the water. I was like, I better ask.
No, we go through about 2
Yeah.
gallons of water a day between the
Yeah.
We drink so much water.
We're very active.
This is the only time I do drink water is during this.
Oh my.
We
Too much.
I'll change my shirt. So
I have a thyroid issue, so I also have to take diuretics, so I drink over a gallon of water, and I'm always like mowing the lawn, a push mower, and
I hate to say it, I'm a soda drinker. Like I'll go through at least 2 cans of soda a day.
actually I was gonna let them have some soda, and they're like, no, we're like 4-year-olds, we want juice. And
Juice box,
That's
juicy
how
juice.
we raised them. Fruit juice and water.
yeah, 32 boxes. How
Did
did
they
that
talk
fit?
about the Powder magazine with y'all at all?
no, not last night. I mean, I know what it is. But I missed a lot. Is that that's
Yeah,
the
it looks like
original
they're
one,
like-
or is that the?
Yeah, that's the original.
Okay, so there's another Powder magazine.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't. Okay.
It got blown up.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It got blown up.
Yeah, these were built like right around the same time. So this building is part of the reason why we're here. So those are not, crosses on the building. They're earthquake bolts, just like all the other buildings that we have around here. That's also part of the reason why we're here, because those earthquake bolts are the first set that Charleston ever put in, simply because that's the oldest government building we have in South Carolina. So it was finished in 1713. The building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here. This is what I call a familiar. You guys watch the TV shows, you've seen the Boo Buddy. That's the the teddy bear with the K2 and temp meters in there. They use that to try to attract the child ghost because they would recognize it as a toy. Same principle here. This is just a building Anne would recognize. Stone is always updated, right? So again, look around. There's nothing else here that she's going to recognize but this building. Hence why we're here. 50-50 shot. We're going to roll the dice. Here's how her story goes. I'll keep it as PG-13 as I possibly can. We're talking a crazy kick-ass female pirate chick, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
So, the building took 10 years to build. Sorry, but does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? Not at all. So, anyway, the history of Anne starts right in the middle of the construction, 1708. So, try to follow me on this one.
Okay.
There's a few twists in here. I'll slow down on the twists. She has a 2.7, which is fantastic for this location. So it's 2.8 and 7. But the young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you guys with me so far?
Okay.
Okay, the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was the wife that she kicked them out of the country in 1708? There's no planes. They had to come here by boat. So they landed in Georgetown. You guys know where that's at, right? So, yeah, I love when I have locals here, so you know, I don't have to explain too much. But anyway, Dad bought a plantation in Georgetown, and Mom died quickly, thereafter. So Dad is now sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell things from that plantation to help keep things afloat, hence the familiar building. Now, Anne back home in Ireland was said to be a badass back then. They say when she was only 7, 8, 9 years old, she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. So we do get the words knife, servant, and belly all the time from 3 different devices. And the other 2 people don't know what the other 2 people have going on. So kind of take that for what it's worth. Did you get anything like
Phenomenal.
that? Oh. Reminds me of this stupid Muppet song. Phenomenal. But anyway, my daughter watched that movie like crazy just to annoy the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But anyway, with that said, let's fast forward. The building's done in 13. By 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love with one of these gents so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It was a man's world back then, and she wants her freedom. So the first guy she falls in love with, and yes, I said first because there's a lot of fellas here. We're going to talk about them all because that's what makes the story so damn interesting. The first guy is James Bonney. You already see where this one's going. We mentioned her pirate name already. She got married because they had to run away to Jamaica because her father didn't approve. So now she has this new husband in Jamaica, but when they get down there, she realizes that her new husband, James Bonney, is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy and a coward. He's working for the British. So she falls in love again a few years later. This guy's name is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. So look at you knowing the damn story. So this is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, by the way, in case you're wondering who this guy is. Now Calico Jack has his own ship, he has his own crew, and wants to be part of the crew, but you can't put a female on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why?
Because you can't have a woman on the ship.
It's bad luck.
It's bad luck.
Yeah. So I usually say, let's get some family-friendly answers because I normally get some really raunchy ones just so you can have that idea. But anyway, so he makes a deal. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world, but she's a pirate. Let's go. Put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters, which means she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, and they're going to get rid of Jack as captain. They'll vote him off because it's a democracy. So, Jack drops her off in Cuba. They'll have the baby here. I don't know what the hell those crazy birds just were, by the way. I don't think I'd ever heard that sound over here. Anyway, these are friends of mine here in Cuba. They'll help you out with the pregnancy. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened. None of my researchers ever found it. However, she's dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off. Now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the ship. So what she's going to do is piss him off even more by flirting with the pirate crew he captured. They're down below deck. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew the Calico Jack captured. Now we have 2 females, just like males, on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because of the time frame. But the British find out where they are and send a fleet of ships after them. One measly little pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks because they don't know how to use the cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. 2 ladies with 1-bullet guns are not going to work out.
2 minutes right before you said 2 ladies.
We'll take the number 2. So, 2 ladies, they're going to get arrested. And as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her beau and captain, Calico Jack, and says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up all the time on communication devices. The judge wants to see the 2...
3.5.
How much?
3.5.
Take that for sure. Wow, that's good stuff here. Again, I'm excited for those. This is me excited, guys.
Calm down, calm easy.
I know, right? The demons within me. I'll be Zach Bagans for a minute. But anyway, so the judge wants to see the two ladies, or the two men that fought back so valiantly. He doesn't know that they're ladies. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates. They're dead and gone. The two ladies go in front, reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. The judge doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies, was the last thing they shouted, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary Reed. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Abrupt ending. We don't know much about her after her pirate career. And there's rumors about where she was or where she actually ended up. Some say she stayed here, some say she went to Virginia. We'll never know. Mary Reed died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Most books will tell you something simple like fever. Let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? So here's what I left out of the story. I'm not going to assign questions. This is a place where we don't have to tiptoe like what we were with the prominent English woman. You can ask whatever the hell you want to here. I may not be able to prove it. It might be just a real-time moment, but that's okay too. Here's the things I left out that I can prove. The names of her parents. I didn't tell you what those were. I just kept calling them the father and the mistress. So you can ask what those names are. You can also ask the name of Calico Jack's ship. That's very distinctive of the one that she joined. The city where Anne grew up in Ireland. That one's always interesting when it does pop up for sure, because we don't always get it very often. And obviously an easy one is the color of her hair. So that's, you guys can guess, is red. So that's a pretty prominent Irish woman. She has green eyes, red hair, kick-ass female pirate, right? Anything crazy come up with the word list that I needed to know?
Just when you said you didn't know what happened to the baby, it said trade.
Maybe she did trade. Who knows? It's kind of sad, but
Yeah,
man,
but it happened then.
but it did happen back then. So you did hear, what was it, 2 days when we came around the corner, and then 2 minutes over here, right?
Yeah.
So you had 2 and 2. Interesting. And then you had all the way up to a 3.4.
3.5.
3.5. Thank you. That's actually exciting over here. 2 minutes. 2 days. Interesting. And nothing else that you've seen on the word list that might actually make sense? Trade. I do like the A and 10 for sure. So definite definitives. That's probably just supplemental to what she's hearing or missing in real time.
Looks like Molly.
How's Molly? I don't know who Molly is. The Ivy Wall is not your friend, Chris. Just so you know.
I've been staying away from it.
Garbage can over there by that little ticket hut. Normally will look like there's a man seated there. We've debunked it. We did have one different shape there one night, but we've never been able to get the same shape back. So you may see somebody over there that looks like, as you kind of go through different angles, it'll look like somebody sitting on the garbage can. We did have interaction with whoever was there one night because their leg was swinging. We asked them to lift their leg up and kind of like bring their knees up into a V, and they were able to do that. But any other night that we've gotten it, it's just been kind of gobbledygook. It looks like somebody's kind of leaning against the ticket hut.
Yeah.
You'll
Now
also
it's like he's trying to screw it. He's like, oh, you Jack,
that's the truth for sure. You'll also get the angles of the roof, just so you know.
Every time it comes over to the cross, it.
Every single time.
Oh God, that freaked me out. I'm like, there's one right there.
That's what you're looking for. That's what you want to be there. It should look just like that. I mean, I know that's a real person.
You've been reduced to a stick figure, baby. I'm sorry.
That's great. I love that.
How about this?
It's still looking like it's the whole part of the roof. You see where the waistline is?
Yeah.
That's where the wall breaks.
Okay.
And then, of course, your points are actually one of the holes in the parking garage back there.
Why does it keep turning? That's weird. That's cool, though.
When I talked to the developers of this app, they said it's always going to try to make it look like a person.
Ah, okay.
So it's going to look for those kind of shapes, and it's going to slap a stick figure on it.
It went at 2.7.
Another 2.7. So even those little ones like that, I don't know what's going on. That's good. We don't get those readings here at all.
This one's not on the. Okay.
Is anybody 40?
Is that what you have?
Yeah.
The number 40?
Yeah. 40.
Black doctor?
Yeah. I think that was. I laughed at that.
What is 3.7?
How fast are you moving with that? Oh, that's a shadow. I'm like, what is that? That's a shadow. That's my shadow.
Told you, it's not a ghost on the ground, looking like a chalk figure.
That guy right there.
When
Your
I see
shadow's
the
coming up
psychics on
real-
the tour, they always see the same soldier here wearing the same outfit. And the weird thing is that it's blue pants, white shirt every single time. Obviously, this thing served the Civil War. That was its last servant, as far as the powder magazine, and that would not be the correct uniform for a Confederate soldier.
Well,
Gray pants.
at the very beginning of the war it was.
You think?
Yeah, that's why they had so many friend killings, because they didn't have the uniforms. The Confederacy didn't have the uniforms, so they were using whatever they had. And so that's whenever it was probably within a year they switched to the gray. But no, they had white. I mean, they had red and or they had blue. The thing about it is, if you had a shirt off, it was either sailor or it was a marine.
But the weird thing about it is, why would it be? I mean, obviously they're going to come over here to see like what the hell we're doing. But every psychic has said, Nick, they don't like you coming here. They're just kind of watching the building. Like, well, there'd be somebody watching it. There's no prisoners here. There's not anything like that. They're just protecting the gunpowder that's inside. So when you go in front, you see the pillory up there. None of that shit actually occurred here. They just had to have somewhere to put it. Why not put it by the oldest government building we have? You know, that kind of thing. But if that's true, that would make sense.
I mean, whenever they worked, they never wore. That's why the Marine Corps has the light blue pants and the dark blue jacket. Is because they always took their jacket off to do everything else. When they went to fight, they put the jacket on, so the pants would fade. The jacket stays the same. It was like at the beginning of the war. You gotta
bring shit up. I learn stuff every day.
Yeah, he's
It's like-
very enthusiastic.
You gotta think. The first shots in the Civil War were fired at Fort Sumter by every move. So he killed himself at the end. It's crazy.
How's our words coming? Anything?
Nah, just a description of what my daughter likes.
Which is?
What is that?
I said weed.
Weed. There you go.
Anything else you may have heard?
I'm listening.
I heard you say the number 38. I want to say Jack was 38. So it's vague. I would need something else to verify that that's relevance reference to Jack.
Nighttime.
What was that name? I said Crawford. Was another? Yeah.
There's going to be electricity in
And then
there, and we have an electrical pole right
we
there.
were close to that corner over there. It said the name Kyle.
So who the hell is Kyle Crawford?
This guy's doing the shuffle.
Get another tree?
Yeah.
That's a tree.
Maybe put it away from the tree.
Wouldn't it be at the height of a person?
Yeah, normally.
Yeah.
So
They
the
were
things that
shorter
we've
back
interacted
then.
with, where I say like, hey, if it goes running down, can you raise your right hand? And I get a raised right hand, that's my confirmation. So normally when it's a bunch of wiggly stuff, I'm like, okay, it's the sign, it's the lamppost. You can identify those things pretty quickly when you're watching the video. What you caught back at the Pinckney Mansion site, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to take the screenshot and see what's out. So that's a piece where I'm like, I'm not sure. So I want to see it. So I want to see it, and when I brighten it up, it'll blur a little bit, but I'll still be able to. I mean, I've been in that space for 4 years, so I kind of know like what's around there. And again, I know that there's a pallet leaning on the side of it. I know that there's a rag hanging off the left corner. So I'm going to be looking at those things when I get in there. I'm going to give her a few more minutes to listen to that because she should have been getting pretty good at this by now because we only have one spot left. And that's where we're doing that blindfold.
Oh, it's the.
Yep.
I won't do that. It's good.
So
You said you wanted to do that?
No, I
It
don't
said
want
what's up.
pretty sure Anne's not talking in our slang of today.
Do you want Dad listen? You
to.
need
And the
ear
estimate
anyway.
that I'm not doing.
Put it in his good ear.
I'm looking for words that make sense. And
But
like,
don't look for anything, just let it happen. That's the fun part about it. You should be telling me all the little funny shit that you're hearing. If you hear the song Hands on My Knees when we're over Philadelphia Alley, that might sound silly, but he did get shot in the kneecap. We've had that song show up.
So you need to start singing.
it said good girls need a little love earlier.
We have gotten material going here. Girls just want to have fun. We've gotten those
You
kind of
got that
songs.
here?
What was the phrase again?
It was from that song. It was like,
Good girls.
girls.
Bonnie had how many?
4 that we know of.
Exactly. It might be a.
It's vague. It's
Yeah.
there.
Four.
Four kids that were living, you know. Normally, if you ask her how many kids she had, you will get the number 5.
Said New
On a
York.
Cuba.
What?
New York.
You're from New York?
I know where I'm from.
Who'd you bring with you?
Could be a few people.
Bored.
I was gonna say that's you. But you don't have an exciting job here because you're standing next to an electrical pole creating false positives.
Yay!
I know, right? And no other craziness going on over there?
Nah.
Nothing else? Should we call it? You're not giving me a whole lot. I'm excited about that 38. It can get weird over here. And if you don't have any words showing up on the supplemental list,
It's not. I just want to know where she was from. What town? Did you see anything?
No.
Nothing.
I got
Unless-
6.
6. Names and numbers don't.
Yeah, there's nothing. Mhm.
That guy's back leaning up against the hut.
Told you. Right angle, you'll catch them every time.
I'm just doing it, try to catch him.
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
It's kind of all the weird, funky
Mhm.
angles that we have with that it's picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he's sitting on the trash can. You're right.
Still love
Just standing here and it's staying at 4, 6,
it. So when it stays put,
7.
and it's kind of like a
Throwing.
then a 5, 4, then a 5.
9. She's getting higher.
It's going higher.
I got I'm afraid.
Oh, up to 1.1 is natural from the earth. That's why we go to 2.5 to make sure it's not just something that's supposed to be occurring. So when we go over there, you're probably going to start to get like 3 to 5s. Fantastic.
Fine, thanks.
there was another tour right behind her,
Yeah.
and they were going faster than her.
I don't time this. It just happens to always fall within 2 to 2.5 hours. So I'm that guy. Like the wife's at home sleeping. I gotta go through the data anyway, so I'm already out. I'm not in any rush. I own the damn company. You know what I mean? I don't even have to answer to her. He's like, why are you running late? You know what I mean? I'm the guy. I answer the late, which is why are you home at 5 o'clock in the morning? You know? Instead of 3 o'clock. I have trouble with the computer. Sorry.
China's usually fall asleep under a house.
You guys,
Did you get?
It's kind of tall.
It is kind of tall.
Yeah.
like, I like,
Jack. My dad had a little Jack. Dad had the Belgian Growl. And Ash, Dad, and Kathleen died.
All of my dogs are named after poets.
oh, I want to sit on my feet. Okay.
Wheel in the sky.
It's all about you right now.
Would have a sign on it.
So sorry, it's the wear and tear on the seat bench. So Dad, you're gonna be filming them the entire time. Yeah. So that way we can actually get this. We're actually gonna stay pretty tight knit up here close to them. Part of the reason for that is because when I'm blindfolding kids in the middle of a dark park, you guys get the point. The
Yeah.
cars may walk through here, like what the hell's he up to now? So this experiment is a whole lot of fun. So you're gonna be doing the blindfold. So you're gonna take your glasses off. With this one, you are going to literally be talking to us in real time. Just tell us whatever you hear. Just
Time
like
for
you
the
did
reveal.
before. You don't have to just listen and tell us later. I want you. This should look like a conversation. So you're also not going to be touching your spirit box once you get to a comfortable volume. Simply because we want to make sure you're not cheating. Eye boogers are gross, so I don't want this back either. So these are all disposable. So I do thank you, Amazon, for buying blindfolds in bulk, by the way. So, God, I love that damn website. So,
Yeah, we do too.
so, don't put this on yet. Just to see how this actually works. So your ears are going to go through where your fingers are. And then
Sorry.
just go
Oh,
over
I'm
your
sorry.
fingers.
I got the. I forgot it.
Okay, so just kind of hang on to that.
And then put it in.
I did start. Oh, shut up.
Oh, I'm sorry. So just.
Yes, I have a Band-Aid.
So I started
Give it to you in a
the
minute.
imagery app while we were over at the Power Magazine, just so you guys would have a gist of what some of these images look like and what she's going to see. So these are images I'm hoping that are going to be relative, I haven't looked at them yet, to the pirate story that we just talked about. So this obviously looks like the water of some sort, like almost like right on the dock, but there's obviously some kind of fire. We obviously talked about many lovers, that's very vague. And I don't know who the hell these gentlemen are. So I just, again, it's about 40 to 45% accurate.
How do you spell S-T?
ESTES. So I'm actually going to delete all 3 of those because I don't think any of them are super relevant. But I just wanted to give you a gist of what she's going to be doing. So Ella, when I put this, give you this, right on the. But when I give you this guy, have you used a virtual headset before?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know your head works like the mouse?
Yeah.
Okay, So I'll have to direct you. I'll just get it started for you, and you're just going to see gray smoke. So whenever you see that's not the gray smoke, you're going to just very quickly describe what you see. So if you see two girls on a bench with a tree in the background, just say two girls, bench, tree, background. I'm going to be focused on what she's saying, and we're all going to see the images of what she saw. You also get all of these images in your data report, so that way you guys can have them to say. I do time this, just so you know, just because I only want to keep them under for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Any more than that can be a little disorienting. So a couple of things on your end.
The clock tower.
When we're done, Mom is going to tap you on the link, because you're not going to be able to hear me say we're done. I'm never going to touch you, so you know. So when she taps your leg, you're done. Pull up your own gear.
So nobody should touch me at all during this.
Mom.
Besides mom touching my leg.
Right. If you're too loud, she's going to tap you on the shoulder, meaning quiet down a little bit. If we can't hear you, she may lift up. I'm going to give you noise canceling headphones. She may lift it up and say louder. We're going to keep it nice and simple. But those are the only three things that you'll need to understand. And you're going to be able to hear me with all of the questions I'm asking. You're just not going to know what they mean. Actually, nobody's going to know what these questions are going to be meaning until I actually reveal if we have anything true and answer.
Watch, hunt, coins. That's interesting.
Oh, I got on book.
What do you have on there?
Watch, hunt, coins. Damage. Reveal damage. Watch, hunt, coins. Ooh.
Yeah, I know. It's normal.
You want me to take care of it?
Okay.
You take care of it?
Just cut it off. This is definitely not the right size.
It's not girly. It's me thinking. Yeah, girly. Just meet the band.
Oh, you may want to take off your glasses too.
You nerd. Nerds wear glasses.
Our family.
Veteran. Keep that in mind, veteran.
It's actually relevant.
Far. Hmm?
It's actually relevant in a lot of ways.
Circulation.
Peace.
It's already red. It's purple at the tip already. Why would you do that?
That is an old term.
I'm saying.
Okay.
Far peace.
So, Mom, you're going to have to put these on her when she gets those blindfold on. So it's blindfold first,
Then these.
then those. So basically, you're going to pop these over her head after she puts the noise or the earbuds in.
Does it matter which one
Nope.
I put my ear in?
Nope.
Or does
The headphones are going to hold it on in place. You'll be fine.
This is scary.
Where are you from originally?
Ohio.
There's a term called far peace. It's a
can't find
means come sit a far peace.
Hmm.
It's Gullah and Geechee.
Do you have that on there?
Far peace. Come sit for a while.
Got it.
Sit a far peace.
This is trippy.
That's what.
Oh god.
That's what that.
It's an interesting.
Say
I'll
that.
have to dive into that. Okay. So now that she's got her, can you hear me, Maria? Maria, can you hear me? Perfect. All right. Just stay nice and tight in here. Get that film rolling.
Oh,
Tom,
I'm
take
on
your
'em.
word generator. Ella, do you have any images yet? Or just smoke? Okay. Perfect. Okay. So we are looking to speak with Henry Timrod. If you can come through and tell us about your occupation. That,
Weapons.
do you want to go straight into the war that you served in?
There's like two black figures. Insults and white and pink background. Like an artwork.
Henry, let's talk about the war. What war did you serve in? Can you tell us what war that was? You're just diving right in tonight.
Maggie.
I don't know who Maggie is.
There's like a person, like a white person with red eyes.
Okay.
Streets.
Henry Timrod, can you tell us which war you served in, please? I know it's a little noisy out here tonight. I know you like to keep things nice and quiet, but if you can tell us what war you served in,
Time goes.
we'll keep this nice and short. If she doesn't say the answers, we've gotten the answers on your word list in the past. That's why I say we gotta
Yeah,
keep an eye
I'm
on it.
watching.
Yeah.
It says peace. So,
Henry,
The one before that was Far. Gullah-Geechee. Come sit a far piece.
Henry.
Testing me.
Yeah, I know it always seems like we're doing parlor tricks out here, but let's dive in a little bit and talk about the war you served in. Can you tell us what war that was or why you went?
The
Move
smoke,
away from shore.
the smoke keeps turning black in the back of the
There's up here in the center, you can turn the tapping. There's a little focus wheel, so if you can't see it, you can turn that wheel to pull it into focus. Henry, we're using both styles tonight of things you want to show us or things that you want us to hear. Can you tell us more about the number 10? I don't know what that means. Go back a little bit, Ellen. There you go. Right where your finger is. Does that help?
I'm gone.
Gone. Is somebody else here then? If it's not Henry Timrod?
As it was.
Harry Styles coming through. Who else do we have here if you're not Henry Timrod? Who are you?
Different.
Are you different than the spirits I normally talk to here? I'm looking to speak with Henry, so if you can let Henry come through, that would be great.
Starting.
Who else do I have here? Is Marguerite here tonight? That's a yes/no answer.
Baby.
Okay.
Not the same.
Okay. So, Henry, do you want to talk about your son? Give us his name or his birthday. Kind of signify that you want to speak about him.
Right.
He was born on Christmas Eve, just so you guys know. It's a very, obviously, distinct.
447.
There's like skyscrapers and like tall buildings.
Not the same.
If you're not Henry if you're Henry Timrod,
Young man.
who are you? Who do we have here tonight?
It's like tall buildings and buildings.
Skyscrapers don't really tell us a whole lot about that time period, Henry. If you're not Henry, who are you? We need your first name so I can identify you. It's been under for 5 minutes already.
Slave.
He was actually part of the Civil War.
oh gosh, it's crazy.
Is that part of the reason why you went to the war?
Right. Salvation.
Why did you go to the war? Henry, let's identify you to make sure I'm speaking to the right person.
24.
Thank you for giving me Willie's birthday, Christmas Eve. We get that here all the time. That's the reason why it's so quick for me to answer to it.
Lied to.
Who was Willie named after? Can you tell me who Willie was named after? Henry's father was named William, so grandfather, my father, things like that would make sense to me here. Who is Willie named after? Very quiet. Do you not want to talk about Willie? Shall we move on? Ella, how you doing in there? I've had one son that I know of. Let's talk about this cottage that you went to. Who invited you to their cottage to go finish writing? What was his name? He was a colleague. You want me to go home? You want me to end this? We'll be respectful, but you've got to give me at least one answer to verify that you want us to stop. Faces are coming through the fog. A lot of people see weird things in that fog. Stare at it for 10 minutes, you start to see things in it. We're already doing it. It's describing what you're already up to. Henry,
Memories keep burning.
what are the memories that are burning?
Ball in the right direction.
Okay, a whole lot of anything. You got any words showing up?
Even. That's all.
That's a message from an interview I'm doing tomorrow. I get interviewed a lot in the month of October. And that's my phone that's in there. Henry, we're going to end this. Can you say goodnight?
Good music.
Good music. Identify. Henry, we're going to say goodnight. Can you give us a little further try on that? Let her know. Mom, go ahead and tap her out. Let's go ahead and this. Ella, go ahead and take off your headset. Let's take.
What?
I don't know. I missed the last one. What was the last one you said?
Phone number.
Phone number. Let's kind of take a look at these
There's
images.
probably marks on my face. I don't know
It looks like you have 3 total images.
I don't know if I described them well enough.
I don't even know what that is.
I didn't see that.
This also looks like
Upside down.
It's probably showing up when you were getting abandoned. Because I had it running already. That's very futuristic. Definitely not the hard time period. I don't know what it is. Sometimes you'll find like a subtle clue or something that's spelled out, or a building or something like, oh, that makes sense. But,
I can say a couple of things.
hmm?
I can say a couple of things that might came to me.
Okay, like what? Yeah.
Burning memories.
What does that mean?
After my mom died, my dad had a big old box of our pictures.
And somebody set his car on fire after it burned down on the side.
Okay.
We're from New York, so it could be the
This
sixth.
guy's great. Makes
And
sense.
her baby, the youngest of 3.
It also makes sense. So,
Sacred. We're gonna be.
Who said
So
sacred?
we're going to the on the way here it said listen
Mm-hmm.
and watch, and it said, you say we're going to the church, and it said sacred. So my mom is Catholic, so doing this kind of thing would be the other picture.
Well, sacrilegious. I was raised Orthodox, so I completely understand. I don't have conversations with my family about my occupation because we don't bring it up for that exact reason. So it seems like a lot of this was geared towards you. Of course, I'm going to tell you what, the pieces of Henry Timrod that I was trying to get out of them. So I don't feel like anything you saw was relative to what we were doing. It sounds like it was more pertinent to you, and that's what I love about doing this. I mean, I know you're a little teary-eyed right now, and things are a little emotional. But when you guys have these personal experiences, that's where I get excited because it's not about just the histories I'm reciting. I'll be honest. Normally, if I get a vet on the tour, no matter what story I tell, it's about whoever they may have lost overseas. I see it all the time. So as soon as we started talking, like when we first met, I was kind of like, okay, well, we're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah, on our way up, I told him a couple of the words that were coming up. I was saying things that could pertain to my mom, like my dad's birthday is November 13th, and it's a month off. And on his birth certificate, it says December 13th, but sometimes I said, but I could be just reaching because I miss my mom.
Sure.
And then that's when it said, on the way past that, it said, watch,
Yeah.
listen,
Pay attention.
and it was sacred.
It's not zero this whole time and it went up.
So, natural stuff. So Maria, on the top of your spirit box, right next to your volume, is a little switch at the very top, where the volume is.
Oh,
At the top.
that's the bone.
There you go. So turn the switch. There
This
you go.
one?
Yep, it's gonna turn off. Perfect.
And
Reason why I
it
do
just
that
said
is 'cause now I-
Mateo. My grandfather's name was Matthew. And my uncle's name is Matthew.
You okay?
Yeah.
Stick your mind on.
Here.
Yeah. Let me see a little way. How about that? Because this is our last stop anyway.
No, that's why I didn't want to
Yeah.
do what you guys just did.
Sure, it's better than one that we should do.
Yeah. You can just say.
I carry enough loose to do it.
I'll be honest, like when we first started today, normally like when you have spirit near you, it almost feels like a spider web kind of thing. And in this location, only about 2 months ago, right after a friend of mine passed away, I was getting clues from her all night. Like it was popping up on spirit boxes, and I'm like, all right, Sandy, you gotta stop it. I get here, cannot get the feeling of spider webs off me. Tonight, I'm waiting at the corner, I can't get the feeling of spider webs off me. And me and my other friend that we both knew her and loved her, we were talking about her just via chat. And it was kind of like one of those, damn it, Sandy. So finally, when you guys showed up, it was kind of like, I finally felt like I got the last bit of it. It kept going in my beard, and she was hugging me.
Only one thing to tell you.
Yes.
You said you saw me and you felt Maria. My mom's name is Maria. Angela Maria. We're all Marias. No,
Well, how similarly do you guys look at the same age?
Right, look at them. Yeah. Look at me.
Yeah, I've already put that together.
It's the same thing. It's a mixture. This is what my mom looked like when she was little. My mom looked a lot like her, but with softer chin.
Okay.
At her age. So, yeah. So, hey Maria.
So, again, I love when this happens. I know you're emotional, but this is what makes my night. So, again, it wasn't about all of the histories I had to memorize.
But I've been feeling like little bugs and spiders, stuff like
That's from that.
I've been seeking out
That's
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, but I can still kind of see like that's